Welcome to Music Tells a Story. My name is Megan and I play the violin. Today I'm going to use this violin to tell you some stories and also show you how music is a really powerful tool for your imagination. Now, music can do a lot of different things. It can be very bright and cheerful. Music can be slow and serious. Music can be dark and kind of spooky and mysterious. Music can also be fun and make you want to dance. Or it can make you want to go to sleep. But the most exciting thing about music is that sometimes it can do all of those things at once. Music can portray a specific place or a specific character or even a sound effect. And if you put all of those things together, music can help tell a story. That's what we're going to do today. I have 3 stories to tell you, and I'm going to be using the violin along the way to help use your imagination to paint a picture around the story. The first story that we're going to hear features a tortoise and a hare. This song is going to use fast, exciting music to show the hare and slow music to show the tortoise. And as you hear this music, you'll hear the hare and you'll hear the tortoise, and hopefully you can imagine them racing each other as we go. One day a hare was bragging about how fast he could run. Bragged and even laughed at the tortoise. The tortoise, who was so slow. Stretched out his long neck and challenged the hare to a race. And the hare laughed. My, what a joke, thought the hare. Of course, Mr. Tortoise, we shall race. On your mark. Get set. The runner soon left the tortoise trailing behind. When he saw how slow his rival was, he decided to lay down and take a quick nap until the tortoise caught up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly and steadily. He never stopped, but kept putting one foot in front of the other while the hare slept on. The hare finally woke from his nap. Time to get going, he thought. He dashed as quickly as anyone ever could up to the finish line. But there at the finish line was the tortoise, who was patiently awaiting his arrival. Slow and steady wins the race, said the tortoise with a smile. The end. So in our first story, you heard fast music for the hare and slow music for the tortoise. And the music helped you know the difference between those two characters in the story. Our next piece is also going to use music for certain characters. This is the story of the three Billy Goats Gruff. We have Little Billy Goat, Middle-sized Billy Goat, and Great Big Billy Goat. But this story also has a bad guy. The bad guy is the troll, and you're going to hear some chords that might be unpleasant or scary sounding to listen to. These chords are called dissonant chords, and they do not have beautiful harmonies. Instead, they're meant to sound like a troll roaring. And that ugly music should help you realize how mean and ugly the troll is. So listen for the three brothers and listen for the troll as we hear the story of the three Billy Goats Gruff. Once upon a time, there were three Billy Goats Gruff. Little Billy Goat, Middle-sized Billy Goat, and Great Big Billy Goat. They lived in a field in a green valley. They loved to eat the sweet green grass, but alas, their field was now brown and barren because they were greedy little goats and they had eaten every last scrap of grass. But they were still hungry. In the distance, they could see another sweet field full of green grass, but unfortunately, the only way to get to that field was across a bridge. bridge lived a terrifically terrifying, terrible troll named Trevor, and he was always hungry too. And there was nothing he liked more to eat than a nice, juicy billy goat. The little billy goat was the first one to reach the bridge. Gingerly, he put one hoof and then another onto the bridge's planks. But because it was so rickety, no matter how hard he tried, his hoofs still went trip, trap, trip, trap on the bridge's wooden planks. Suddenly there was a huge roar. "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" And out from under the bridge loomed the troll. Quaking in his hooves, little Billy Goat Gruff managed to squeak out in his softest voice, "It's only me. I'm only going to look for some grass to eat." "Oh no, you're not. I'm going to eat you for my breakfast, lunch, and tea." "Oh no," said terrified little Billy Goat Gruff. "I'm just little Billy Goat Gruff. You don't want me. Wait for my brother, middle-sized Billy Goat Gruff. He's bigger than me and much tastier." "All right," said the greedy troll, and he decided to wait. Little Billy Goat Gruff skipped across the bridge and began to eat the sweet green grass. The other goats saw little Billy Goat Gruff eating the green grass, and they were jealous. So middle-sized Billy Goat Gruff came to the bridge and began to cross the stream. Trip, trap, trip, trap went his middle-sized hooves. Again, the troll loomed out from under the bridge. "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" he roared. Quaking in his hooves, middle-sized Billy Goat Gruff replied, "It's only me. I'm following my brother, little Billy Goat Gruff, so I too can eat the sweet green grass." "Oh no, you're not," said the troll. "I'm going to eat you for breakfast, lunch, and tea." "Oh no, Mr. Troll, you wouldn't want me. I'm not big enough to fill you up. Wait for my brother, big Billy Goat Gruff. He's bigger than me and much tastier." "All right," said the troll. And so middle-sized Billy Goat Gruff scampered across the bridge to join little Billy Goat Gruff and began to eat the sweet green grass. Goat Gruff was jealous, and he couldn't wait to get across the bridge and join his little brothers. So, boldly, he put his hooves on the bridge. Trip, trap, trip, trap. Again, the troll loomed out from under the bridge. "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" he boomed. "It's me, Big Billy Goat Gruff." "Who are you?" "Why, I'm the troll, and I'm going to eat you for breakfast, lunch, and tea." "Oh, no, you are not," said Big Billy Goat Gruff. "Oh, yes, I am, you'll see." And then the troll rushed at Big Billy Goat Gruff, who bravely charged back, bent his head, and caught the troll up in his horns. He tossed him off the bridge into the stream below, and the troll disappeared under the rushing water, never to be seen again. From then on, anyone could cross the bridge and enjoy the sweet green grass with the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. The end. In our first 2 stories, we heard how music can embody a character like the troll or like the little billy goat. In our final story, the music is going to help you use your imagination to feel what the characters might be feeling. You will hear some slow music that's very sad as one of our characters is locked into a room. And you'll also hear some mischievous music as our main character comes to cause trouble. So I hope you enjoy this final story, which is Rumpelstiltskin. By the side of the woods in a country far away ran a stream, and by this stream stood a mill. The miller's house was nearby, and the miller, you must know, had a very beautiful daughter. She was shrewd and clever, and the miller was so proud of her that one day he told the king, who happened to be hunting in the nearby woods, that his daughter could spin straw into gold. Now this king was very fond of money, and when he heard the miller's boast, his greediness overtook him. He sent for the miller's daughter to be brought before him, and led her to a room in his palace which was full of straw. "All this must be spun into gold by morning, if you love your life." It was no use when the miller's daughter replied that it was only her father's silly joke, and that she could not spin straw into gold. The door was locked, and she was left alone. She sat down in one corner of the room and began to cry, when suddenly the door opened and a droll-looking little man hobbled in, saying, "Good evening to you, my lady. What are you weeping for?" "Alas," she cried, "I must spin this straw into gold, and I don't know how." "What will you give me if I do it for you?" asked the hobgoblin. "My necklace," replied the maiden. He took her at her word and sat himself down to the wheel, whistling and singing. Round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold. And round about the wheel went merrily. The work was finished quickly, and the straw was spun into gold. When the king came in the morning and saw all the gold, he was greatly astonished and pleased, but his heart grew more greedy, and he shut the poor miller's daughter up once more to weep. But the dwarf soon opened the door and said, "What will you give me to do your task?" "The ring on my finger," she replied. And so the little friend took the ring and began to work and spin again, whistling and singing. Round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold. All of the straw was spun into gold again well before the sun came up. The king was delighted to see all the glittering treasure, but his heart was still greedy, and he still didn't have enough. He took the miller's daughter to an even larger room, filled with an even larger heap of straw, and said, "All this must be spun tonight, and if it is, you shall be my queen." As soon as the door was closed, the little man came in. And said, "What will you give me to spin gold for you this third time?" "I have nothing left," the maiden replied. "Then say you will give me," said the little man, "the first child you have once you become queen." "I may never have a child," thought the miller's daughter, and realizing that she had no other options, said that she would do as he asked. Round went the wheel once again to the old song, and the wee man once more spun the heap into gold. When the king came in the morning, finding all the gold he had asked for, he was forced to keep his promise. So he married the miller's daughter, and she truly became queen. The queen was very happy at the birth of her first child, and she forgot all about the little man and her promise. But one day as she was playing with the baby, the tiny man returned and reminded her of their agreement. Then she grieved sorely at her misfortune. She promised him the wealth of the entire kingdom if he would release her from her promise, but it was no use. Until at last her tears softened him. "I will give you 3 days' grace, and if during that time you tell me my name, you may keep your child." The queen lay awake all night, thinking of the oddest names she had ever heard, and in the morning she sent messengers across the kingdom to find even more. The next day the little man came, and she guessed Timothy, Ichabod, Benjamin, Jeremiah, and all the other names that she could remember. But to each and every one he said, "Madam, that is not my name." The second day she began with all the comical names she knew: Bandy-Legs, Hunchback, Crookshanks, and so on. But the little gentleman still said to every one, "Madam, that is not my name." On the third day, one of the messengers came back and said, "I traveled for 2 days without hearing any new names, but yesterday, as I was climbing a high hill in the forest, I saw a little hut. In front of the hut, there burned a fire, and around the fire, a funny little man danced upon one leg and sang. Merrily the feast I'll make, today I'll brew, tomorrow bake. Merrily I'll dance and sing, for the next day will a stranger bring. Little does my lady dream, Rumpelstiltskin is my name. Little does my lady dream, Rumpelstiltskin is my name." When the queen heard this, she jumped for joy. her little friend came back, she sat down upon her throne and invited the whole court in to enjoy the fun. The nurse stood by her side with the baby in her arms, looking sad as though the baby were about to be given up. Then the little man began to chuckle at the thought of having the poor child to take home with him to his hut in the woods, and he cried out, "Now, lady, what is my name?" "Is it John?" she asked. "No, madam." "Is it Tom?" "No, madam." "Is it Jemmy?" "It is not." "Is your name Rumpelstiltskin?" asked the lady slyly. "Some witch told you that! Some witch told you that!" cried the little man. And with rage, he stomped his foot so deep into the ground that he was forced to grab hold of it with both hands to pull it out. Then he did his best to leave the court. The nurse laughed at him, the baby babbled at him, and the whole court mocked him for making so much trouble for nothing. They cried, "We wish you a very good morning and a merry feast, Mr. Rumpelstiltskin." The end. I hope you've enjoyed hearing these 3 stories and hearing how the music helps you imagine what the characters are like, what they feel like, what they might be experiencing during the stories. What I'd like for you to do is the next time you hear a sound or hear a song, imagine a story that might go with it. You never know what your imagination can create with the power of music.